Hello and welcome to the Merle and Locke podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping of pointless banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge. All right, to start us off, Locke.
Yes.
Now, I've been okay. I admittedly look at a lot of those reels and stuff on social media as a lot of people do, get my funnies in for the day and what have you. But every now and again there's those videos that show some kind of conflict, right? Whether it be like, I don't know, people flipping out at a restaurant or something like that and start fighting and this, that, and the other. And it made me think about the fact that so many people have this insatiable craving for conflict, right? Or drama of some kind. So we have these little shorts on social media that shows these videos of needless violence and people confronting others, like even if it doesn't become violence, like maybe you'll get these random people who will confront picketers and what have you, and create this drama and try to shoot people down. And we also have reality TV shows, which are notorious for their drama. Yeah,
I'm unfortunately aware of their existence.
yeah. So it's something that a lot of people love, and
good for them.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, I understand. I understand it that they have this craving for it. But oh man, now the way that you're talking now, it makes me think that it's not something that you enjoy either. So I feel like we're on the same side.
I wonder how you figured that out. No, I mean, it's not that we can't have a discussion about it.
I mean, true. We could still talk about it, I guess. Oh,
I mean,
what's it harder?
Does it though? Like, all right, so I'll try to side for the other side. Not that I care much for it, but I'll try. Okay. I'll try to give some insight as to what I think people enjoy about it.
Okay, yeah. So I'll tell my own personal views about it initially. So, okay, so, most of the time when I see someone being dramatic about something or another, I'm always on the side of like, why do you have to? There's no need to like overreact. You just talk it through sensibly, and everybody can be at peace. No tempers need to fly off the handle, and we can all speak calmly, and we can get through whatever this conflict is. Now others are way too willing to take it over the top. And I don't know if it's like I try to be empathetic towards it, because that's what I always do with people is try to be empathetic and understand how they see things. But at the same time, I don't understand why it's such a struggle just to, take a breath, think about it, speak with intent rather than speak out of anger or frustration, because that just goes nowhere. It doesn't solve anything, and most of the times it can hurt feelings, or it can put a damper on relationships. And then it comes the point of violence, where these things we're man, it's like some people are so willing to become violent. That's something I just can't get behind, because like I I never want to, start swinging at somebody. It's like, how do you get to that point where
I
you
mean,
just start
I sometimes want to swing at somebody, but I don't let that go through. I
right.
I try to filter those thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, sometimes you'll get that urge, right, to start swinging, but then you'll actually run it through your head first. Be like, that's not a great idea, right? Because something serious could happen here, and I don't see any desire to go down that path. Yeah, I mean, if somebody got seriously injured, like even put into the hospital or something for something stupid, even if it's just like because it could happen so simply, right? Like the if somebody swings at you, like knocks you right in the chin, and your head twists just like the perfect amount of speed, right? And you cut off oxygen to the brain, or it rattles your head, and you collapse, right? If you
Right.
collapse over, let's say you're on a sidewalk, if your head collapses and in the heat of that conflict, the other person doesn't think sensibly, obviously because they just swung at you. They're like, oh, maybe I should catch him before his head hits the cement and he, you know, has some kind of, uh,
Trauma.
brain yeah, brain hemorrhage or trauma or something like that, and they could die from it. You're not gonna. That's not gonna run through your head if you're the guy that just let it all go
No,
and swung at you.
because you're like, yeah, that's what I did.
Exactly. Like how
Eat pavement.
that's the thing. Like it could kill somebody so easily. Like they could hit the ground, their head bounces off the cement. Emergency services doesn't get there fast enough and get you treated quickly enough. That could be it. That could be your life, and then that's what, manslaughter. So, and then you're spending the rest of your days in jail, and that's it, right?
Right.
Like, so some of us can take a seat back and try to. I mean, first of all, I don't know how do you get to that point in the first place, right? Like, how do you get that heated that it turns to violence?
You let the intrusive thoughts win.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
uh,
Yeah. I guess I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you've ever had those moments. I'm sure you have. We're only human, where we just absolutely rage out. Like we have to either voice our opinion on it, maybe not deck somebody immediately,
Right.
but you're on that brink. Like you're like, "Ooh, I'd really like to." That's an everyday gaming experience with Locke.
Okay.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
deck you. Because at least while I'm playing game, I let the intrusive thoughts win. I I let it out before it becomes an actual problem. Like holding it all in, like holding in a lot of emotion is going to cause some problems too. So
Right. So you're quick to vent.
right,
So most of the time, where I have been presented with a potential conflict, right? Personally, it's never been intentionally my doing, right? So so mostly when you see like these clips, or even if you see it in real life, because like I've seen it, when I would back in the day when I would do the whole club scene and stuff like that, and I would see these people get into it. It was always from belligerence of one person, and then the other person is like just getting too aggravated to the point where they lash out. Yeah?
Right.
Like, I've never been on that side of aggravating someone to the point where they feel like lashing out on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what state of mind those people are in to do that to someone, to make someone feel angry. Yeah?
The trolls, the people that like to get you agitated, to really like poke the bear. They want to see, and like some people want to do it, and I know a lot of older people who do it because they want to sue somebody.
Right.
Like I want to sue somebody, so I don't care if I have a bad attitude. I don't care if I give this person a rough time, because if they deck me, I can sue them for it. And like a lot of people that are sue happy will pull stunts like that.
Man, I've never sued somebody for anything. I don't that seems like such a low thing, right? Just to egg someone on to be violent towards you so you can use the law against them. Like, in your fate. Yeah, it is like
Definitely
real life trolling.
you would think that it's a flaw in the justice system, but you know. And they're like, "Hey, you should have more control over that." And I'm like, "Eh."
We're just gonna roll with it. These people that are quick to violence, they must suffer, you know? But it's not even that they're quick to violence. They just get fed up with it and they can't escape the person that's doing that trolling, yeah?
Right. I mean, I've had these people. There are a few people that I can think of that have given me a hard time, and that intrusive thought comes. I'm like, ooh, I'd like to be the one to plant you in the ground.
Right, right. No, we all most I feel like most people like have those thoughts every now and again, sure.
But I will only start throwing fists if the person starts getting physical first. The other thing is, once you start going on to the violence, is where it becomes risky, right? We've already discussed it. You know, you'd end up being possibly the person that ends up committing manslaughter or something to the effect of that. You're the one to blame because you weren't thinking clearly enough to be like, hey, there's a better alternative, instead of watching where you hit this person. Or
No, and like my concern is when it comes to fights like that, because there's no control in that fight, right? Once you start swinging, and let's say you don't knock him out, the other person out instantly, you're almost putting your life in that other person's hands. Yeah? Because if they start fighting back and there's a potential for them to put you down, like once you're out, you're out. I mean, anything could happen. Yeah? You have no control over it. Right? I mean, maybe your buddies could be around. I don't know. But if you don't have that backup, you're putting your life in this other person's hands, and you have to almost trust that they're at least gonna have some sense of honor.
yeah,
and that they won't just completely smash your face in while you're unconscious on the ground
right.
and potentially kill you, or completely mutilate your face,
Right.
right? And that's too much of a risk for me to take personally. I mean, I got little trust in humanity, admittedly.
Right. No, I
Yeah,
don't blame you.
yeah. Because I mean, you gotta look out for yourself. I mean, it's like people aren't always gonna be there for you. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, For the most part, you're alone. I mean, yes, we got like sometimes we'll be hanging out with buddies and whatnot, and we like we'll know our buddies will have our backs,
Right.
but
I mean, we should
for
hope
the
so.
most part, yeah, you should hope so. But for the most part, yeah, it's up to you to make the right call in those those situations. And I don't know, maybe there's a lot of people who don't think about the repercussions of their actions, or perhaps it's more a lack of care, lack of caring about what could possibly happen, because you have some kind of like a death wish, or maybe you just I don't know, you don't care what will happen to you, you got nothing to lose, that kind of thing.
Right.
Or maybe it's a sense of proving yourself for one reason or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact of having to feel like you got to prove that you're some kind of tough guy, it's a little cringe, isn't it?
A little bit. I mean, to go back to why people might enjoy watching stuff like that, though, I'm going to say, it's either a sense of it's like something in the back of their mind where they're like, ooh, yeah, I wish I could do something like that. I know a lot of the videos that I've watched on that, some of them, albeit a little bit funny when you watch them, because you're like, that is the dumbest thing, but somehow still works. Like, I'll bring up an old video where it was these two ladies fighting. It was just like trailer trash ladies fighting, and
right.
the one picks up a shovel and chucks it at the other girl.
Oh, good lord.
And it makes contact with the back of her head, and you're like, and then she smacks the blacktop, and I'm like, yeah, see, that's
that's a deadly weapon too, bud.
Yep.
That's some serious jail time right there.
Right. So it's that initial funny when you see it, because you wouldn't expect it, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect somebody to pick up a shovel and chuck it at somebody.
A weapon of opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
She's an opportunist.
Yeah. Jeez. No, every time I see these videos, it's like I try to skip them, right? Like I don't like to see them because they give me anxiety. I'm like, oh man, like what are you guys thinking? What's going through your head? Like, why would you do this? What's going to happen? Is someone actually going to get seriously hurt? Like, and I'm at that point, if I'm watching a video, I'm a bystander that can't intervene whatsoever, and it gives me this anxiety where I'm like, oh, I can't help anybody that might get seriously injured, and it's all out of my hands, and I don't know by the end of it, like you never get anything out of the end of it because you can't, it's hard to like look up like, or was that person okay afterwards? Like, is everyone all right? What happened to the person who started it all? Like, did they, did the justice system take care of them? Did they, it's just like there's no closure by the end of it. So it gives me this anxiety. I'm like I need to know what happened. I just hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I mean, there's something else. You could look up certain situations if you know where about. You can Google it. It's the age of the internet. You can do up your own research on it. The other thing to say about watching these fights, you could say that there is potentially good in it, right? Albeit I don't like seeing it, because I'm like, I try to avoid that situation if need be. But you could say that watching this video and having seen the video and seeing how these people would react, you can now say, what would you do in this scenario? If you were actually a bystander and you were there during this conflict, what could you have done to help prevent it, or, help calm one of the other people down, maybe pull that person out before things got sour? You can look at it that way.
Okay, I like that. So it's almost a sense of gaining some wisdom from the conflict, without actually participating, and you can try to analyze and see how you would have approached the situation. No, I like that. I like that. I like that insight. That's good.
Learn
I
from other
appreciate
people's
that.
stupidity. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Oh man, maybe that's what. Oh man, maybe that's what we could actually take from these videos that we see on the internet. Just try to gain some wisdom from them and learn not to be a complete idiot. Has there ever been a time for you personally where you were presented with this type of conflict?
I've been in some weird situations, some hairy situations. One where a guy was threatening me, but because he was having his own problems that was going on. So I'll go over that. So we were at a bar. This guy was having a rough time. I wouldn't have known it from the time that I had met him. Like, this is first time meeting him. Seems to be an alright dude, But he is just drinking heavily. And me and my buddy, Murphy, or just call him Murphy, we were hanging out with this guy, and I seen that he had taken out the battery to his phone. And he is just wilding out, just going super crazy, trying to get me to raise my arm and extend the fingers, talking about
Oh.
German heritage, and I was like, sorry, bud, I'm not German. I won't do that.
Uh, golly.
He was really wilding out. We're all hanging out, and all of a sudden, this guy's wife shows up, and she looks at him, and she is visibly angry and concerned, and she could not get a hold of him. And he looks over at my buddy and goes, "What did you do?" Thinking that he had contacted her to tell him where he was at. And he goes, "I did not do anything." Eventually, because I don't know these people, this is a whole different situation, so I stick out of it. Sometimes you got to know your place, and my place was to not be in the middle of that for that moment. I did not see an opportunity for me to be there. So they go outside, and they were having a chat, and I'm watching from the inside window of this bar, and I look out, and I see them talking, and then all of a sudden I see this guy take off into the woods, and I'm like, maybe he's gonna go throw up. Like, he had been drinking a lot. Crazy. And then his wife runs in there after him, and I was like, oh, she's gonna go, check up on him. And here's where it tipped me off that something was wrong. My buddy, Murphy, took off into the woods. And I walked outside then, and I could hear yelling from a distance, and then I could hear what sounded like train tracks. And I put two and two together, and I just started following the screams. And I'm running through the woods like this is wartime. I'm just charging through the woods, jumping over laid down trees. I get to the slope of rocks that lead up to the train tracks, and they're pulling him down from the tracks. He's still okay. Mind you, he's still okay. Nothing happened to him. Here's where you get a sense of my humor. So I go over to him. They're trying to calm him down. He is just absolutely distraught. He's beside himself. He's going through all the emotions between just sad, angry. You can hear that there's another train somewhere along the tracks, or it's the same train. I can't tell because I'm focused on this guy, trying to focus on calming him down. He asked me what makes me think that I can stop him from getting to those tracks. And I told him, I said, listen, when we were talking in there, I figured that you and I, if we are alike, as you say, you don't actually want to go for that train. He kept telling me that, and he's like, I just want to eat that train. So I told him, wouldn't you like to have a nice Subway instead? Train's a little gritty on the teeth.
Oh my goodness.
And my buddy
Okay.
Murphy, he gives me this look like, are you serious? Because this man had just tried to jump in front of a train, and you're making a joke right now.
Oh man.
I was like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to lighten the mood. I didn't tell him that at the time, but we talk about this still to this day. That was just the wildest moment that I ever been in. But this guy kept telling me, "You think you can stop me? I'll choke you out." Like, he's trying to get physical with me, and I'm like, "You're not. I know you're not." Like, I'm trying to comfort him, console him, because I know that he needs more than physical violence. So here I am, just fighting off him trying to choke me out. He's trying to press his forearm against my throat, and then he breaks down and lays his head on my shoulder, and I was just like, it's all right. We get him back to the car so that she can take him home, and he was still threatening me the whole time while I'm standing there at the car with him. I was just like, you stay right there. Like, keeping him in the passenger seat, I say, you stay right there. And he's like, you think you're gonna stop me? Like, still talking back talk after all that had happened. And I was just like, dude, you're not going anywhere. I was like, you're gonna go home. She's gonna take you home. Everything's gonna be okay. You just need to relax and get yourself sober. And he every time he was just like, I'm gonna get up, and he gets up, and I just push him right back down. And it just pisses him off. He just starts, he's like, stop pushing me. I'm like, no, you need to sit. I became an adult at that moment. I'm like, sit.
Should we just end it there?
Let's try to pick. Can we find a lighter note to end this on?
I don't know. How do we end it on a lighter note?
Well, have you ever been put in a situation with any situation that was like that? Or not like that, but a situation that you had to try to get out of a fight, or where there was like hostility, and how you went about diffusing it.
Oh, well, there is one time I actually got into a big fight, which I have no memory of.
Oh,
Yeah. So
color me intrigued.
yeah. So in my younger days, when I was, drinking to get drunk, I had the habit of blacking out almost every weekend. I was at a party, and like a whole lot of friends were there. We were all partying, playing beer pong, all the drinking games, just everybody was getting hammered. And I blacked out at one point. I woke up in the morning. I was on my buddy's living room floor, passed out. So I woke up, got up. I felt like complete crap. And I went to the bathroom, started, cleaning myself up a bit, washing off my face and this, that, and the other, just doing the whole ceremony to get over the hangover. And there was a knock at the door, and my buddy wasn't awake yet. So I went and answered the door, and it was another buddy that was at the party the night before. And I open the door and I see him, and he has like bruises all over his face. He's standing there. He's like, "Hey, man, I was just coming to check up on you." And I was like, "Dude, what happened to your face?" He's like, "Do you not remember last night?" I was like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, you turned pretty violent." I was like, "Did I do that to your face?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh my God." Like, what? Why? And he's like, "Well, because admittedly, there was a girl there that I was trying to impress. And, I was trying to act like the big man." And, well, this is him talking. It's not me talking.
Okay.
But he was like, I was trying to be the big man at the party, and you were trashed. So I was trying to admittedly be a little patronizing towards you and be like, "All right, bud, let's go to bed. You've had enough." And you didn't appreciate me doing that to you.
All right.
And then, yeah, I guess I turned violent on him because he kept, trying to put me to bed and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. Like, obviously, if I been sober, like, I would have played wingman to it, right?
Right.
I would have been like, "Oh yeah, you're right, man. Whatever. He's trying to get the girl, trying to be the big man. Whatever. I'll take the hit. But I was blackout drunk, so I was like, "Get the fuck away from me!" Like, what are you thinking?
Nobody puts baby to bed.
Yeah. So apparently, I beat the shit out of him. Oh man, I felt so bad. I did go out with him, and I bought him breakfast, and I apologized and this and that. And he was very understanding, because how sometimes between the boys, the ladies, they like, we gotta impress the ladies, blah blah blah. Like we both understood each other, and everything was patched up. We were all good. And and yeah, so everything turned out all right. But yeah, good. I still felt super super guilty about it. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been absolutely agitated by anybody putting me to bed while I was drunk. You know me, you've seen me drinking, and I'm pretty easy to get along with.
Yeah,
you go, "Come on, bud, it's time to go to bed." I'll be like, "Hee hee hee," and off to bed we go.
Thank you for joining us on the Merle and Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.